Tam Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Darasvadamna Anyam Sahajjana Shravanatvagadi Prana Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam Tasmadakam Viklaviklava Ishvarasya Sarvatmana Meginami Tamanisham Nicho Jaya Gunamasarga Anupravishta Uyeta Yena Kipumana Nuvarnitena. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. First canto, 15th chapter, 22 and 23. Rajam Svayanu Prashtanam Sugurdam Naspurpure Viprasama Vimudhanam Nignatam Mushtibir Midaha Varunim Madiram Pitva Madonmatita Chetasam Ajanatam Iva Anyonyam Chatur Panchavasheshitaha. Rajan, O king, Tvaya, by you, Anuprishtana, also you inquired, Sugurdam, of friends and relatives, Naha, our Sugar pure, in the city of Dwaraka, Vipra, the Brahmanas, Sapa, the curse of Vimudana, of the befooled, Nignatam, of the killed, Mushtibi, with the bunches of sticks, Mitaha, among themselves, Varuni, fermented rice, Madiram, wine, Pitwa, having drunk, Matita, being intoxicated, Chetasam, of that mental situation, Ajanatam, of the unrecognized, Iva, like Anyonyam, one another, Satuhu, 4, Pancha, 5, Ave, Ava Sheshitaha, now remaining. Translation. O king, since you have asked me about your friends and relatives in the city of Dwarak, I'll inform you that all of them were cursed by the Brahmanas, and as a result, they all become intoxicated with wine, made of putrefied rice, and fought among themselves with sticks, not even recognizing one another. Now all but 4 or 5 of them are dead and gone. Next. Please change to the next verse. You have to change it. Keep the next.
Yes.
1:15-24. Prayenetat Bhagavata Ishvarasya Visestitam Mito Nignanti Bhutani Bhaviyanti Chayam Mitaha. Prayenetat. It is almost by Bhagavataha, of the personality of God, Ishvarasya, of the Lord, Vichestitam, by the will of Mitaha, one another, Nignati, to kill, Bhutani, the living beings, Bhaviyanti, as also protect, also yet of who, Mitaha, one another. Translation purport is given by Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Swami Srila Prabhupada. Actually, this is all due to the supreme will of the Lord, the personality of God. Sometimes people kill one another, and other times they protect one another. Purport. According to anthropologists, there is a nature law of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. But do not know behind the law of nature the supreme direction of the supreme personality of God. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the law of nature is executed by the direction of God. Whenever, therefore, there is a peace in the world, it must be no need to due to the will of the Lord. And whenever there is upheaval in the world, it's also due to the supreme will of the Lord. Not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. Whenever, therefore, there is disobedience of the established rules enacted by the Lord, there is war between men and nations. The surest way to path of peace, therefore, is detailing everything the established rule of the Lord. The established rule is that whatever we do, whatever we eat, whatever we sacrifice, whatever we give in charity, must be done to the full satisfaction. No one should do anything, eat anything, sacrifice anything, or give anything in charity against the will of the Lord. Discretion is the better part of valor, and one must learn how to discriminate between actions which may be pleasing to the Lord and those which may not be pleasing to the Lord. An action as thus judged by the Lord's pleasure or displeasure. There is no room for personal wills. We must always be guided by the pressure of the Lord. Such action is yoga karma shakavash, or action performed which are linked with the Supreme Lord. That is the art of doing work. Next, 20.
Living.
Next.
Yes, it's coming up.
Yeah. 115:25. Chalaukasham chale vyatman mahanto danti anishaha dullabalan balino rajan mahanto balino mitaha evam balister yadubi mahadbir itaran vibu yadubir Anyonyam Bobharan Sanjarharaha Jalakusham of the Athletics. Chale in the water, Yatvat as it is, Mahantaha the larger one, Adati swallows, Anisha smaller ones, Durbala the weak, Balina the stronger, Rajan O king, Mahantaha the strongest, Balina less strong, Mitaha in a duel, Evam thus Balistahi by the strongest, Yadubihi by the descent of Yadu, Mahad Bihi, who was greatest strength, Itara the common ones, Vibhu, the Supreme Personality of God, Yadun of all the Yadus, Yadubi by the Yadus, Anyonyam among one another, Ubharan, burden of the world, Sanjahara as unloaded in the past. O king, as in the ocean, bigger and stronger activities swallow the smaller and weaker ones. So also the Supreme Personality of God to lighten the burden of the earth, as engage the stronger Edu to kill the weaker and bigger Egu to kill the small. The material world struggle for existence, survival of the fittest, or lost because in the material world there is disparity between conditional souls to everyone's desire, lord it over material souls. This very mentality of lording over material nature, the root cause of the condition. The facility to such imitation lords, the illusory energy of the Lord has created disparity in conditioned living beings by creating the stronger and weaker in every species of life. This mentality of lording over material nature and the creation has naturally created disparity and therefore the law of struggle for existence. In spiritual world, there is no such disparity, nor is there such struggle for existence. First of all, there is no struggle for existence because everyone there exists eternal. There is no disparity between them because everyone wants to render service to them. And no one wants to imitate the Lord and become the beneficiary. Lord being the creator of everything, including the living beings, factually is the proprietor and enjoyer of in the material world, by the spell of Maya or illusion, the eternal relation to the Supreme Person of God, is forgotten, and so the living being is conditioned to the law of struggle for existence. Srila Prabhupada's transcendental purport, Ki Jai. So, now this chapter is very important for us to understand. So, this chapter is entitled Pandava's Return Timely. This is very, very important for us to meditate. So here, the last chapter we saw the departure of Lord Krishna, and now Arjuna is coming back and giving the details of what has happened in Dwaraka and what has happened with Krishna, the Yadu dynasty, the Vrishni dynasty. What has happened is coming and giving the full history of what has happened in Dwaraka. How Krishna has left the planet, how Yadus fought among themselves. So all these past tense are being explained. And then Arjuna is also explaining wonderfully the previous verses. Before this, this is a final conclusion he is coming to. Before that, he was explaining how Krishna has protected him and how he was dependent on Krishna. So that is also very important for us to meditate that Arjuna is giving a wonderful, especially the 115:21 is very important for us. We will discuss that verse also. It's very important for us. So this departure of Krishna and the Yadu dynasty is also the supreme will of the Lord. So here, different acharyas has got different interpretation and they give different opinion. In fact, if you see Arjuna, he's telling in this verse, what he's saying? He's saying, Sugudam Nath Vipra Sapa Vipudana. Vipudana means they are fools. He's telling Yadus as fools. If you see in the 11th canto, we can see this is spoken by Arjuna. His grandson, Parishit Maharaj says, they are such exalted devotees. They are the pure devotees of the Lord. How they can take the wine? How they can do like this? That's a question asked by Parishit Maharaj. So the mind gets confused. How come one devotee is saying like that? One devotee is saying like that? There is a contradiction? No contradiction. Because both are the opinions of the Lord. So one is looking that it is a question of realization. Okay. So I will give you a nice example for you to understand. For example, if you fill water half cup, So one person will say it is half cup of water. And the another person will say half cup empty. But both are same. Doesn't mean anything. It is the opinion and this is the nature of all the sages. If you see Jaimini Rishi, this Rishi, all the Rishis, you don't accept the same factor. They always differ because that is natural tendency. So Tarkanam is natural. Tarka means the argument between the sages always because different opinions comes and different realizations comes. So here also you can see so many people are speaking. My way of speaking will be different. Other devotee will be speaking different. So, but doesn't mean that both are wrong or one is correct, one is wrong. Both are correct because it is all on the absolute platform. So if you see, there is a okay. This is Arjuna. Even the current Kali Yuga also, Bhakti Siddhartha Saraswati, in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, where he talks about the Sapa, what is the curse on the Yadu dynasty, he is telling that they are deliberately, they were not following the rules and regulations that Krishna has prescribed. They deviated away from them, and that is the reason for the curse. But if you see Jiva Goswami says different opinion. Jiva Goswami says in the Parpo that no, it is all done by the supreme will of the Lord, and these Yadus are pure. Actually, we have to understand. Yadus are acting in this way. We have to understand the Bhagavad. We have to understand the Bhagavad Gita. We have to understand in the context. Like Arjuna, pure devotee of the Lord. Can you go into illusion? Can you talk about on the bodily platform? He says that I have to worship Bhishma, I have to worship Arjuna, I have to worship Drona. Can he say like that? No, he cannot say like that. Because he knows. He knows. Krishna knows. Arjuna knows that Bhishma has to be killed because they are in the Adharma and we are in Dharma. And yeah, he knows everything. But Krishna wants to enact the pastime. The whole Bhagavad Gita is for all of us. And then this Yadu's pastime is also for us. So Yadus are pure. They are not contaminated by any material but they are acting on this only to show that how we should not, as a devotee, should not behave. You may be a close associate of Krishna, but if you do as friends, you have to face the consequence. And Krishna is also directly telling that just you can see the comparison. Anyway, we'll go into the details. And now, before I go into the details, I don't want to go because then I will deviate away from it. Because I want to give attention to the two things, how without Krishna we are nothing. That's what Arjuna is telling. So the whole chapter is very important to say. Bottom line is, without Krishna we are nothing. So one of my friend devotee in Abu Dhabi used to say, there are three things we have to understand. CNN, you know CNN, international news. C means no capacity. We don't have any capacity. No. N means we are not required. We are not required. N. Third N means we are nothing. And this is the mood of Arjuna. Arjuna's mood is that he says that I'm nothing, I'm nowhere, I'm not required at all, and I don't have any capacity. And he tells openly, he's telling the previous verse, Isha Riktam. Isha Riktam means being devoid of Krishna, I have become nothing. So this is the mood of the devotee. We always be dependent on Krishna. That is the mood. So now we will go into the chapters. You have to understand why this chapter named Pandava's entire time. So we have to understand the inner meaning of it. So I want to concentrate on that. And that is one of the qualities of the devotee. Because every time Prabhupada writes a headline to the particular this one, there's a meaning behind it. So much meditation has gone. Prabhupada simply doesn't write. Prabhupada has meditated what I should put in this particular chapter in this. Each and every chapter he has meditated. If you see the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam, 8th canto from 12th chapter or 14th or 15th chapter to 23rd chapter, full Bali Maharaj pastimes. Okay, Vamanaja. And if you see the whole the chapters, there was only one chapter which is saying Lord Vamana, dwarf incarnation. All other chapters is only glorifying Bali Maharaj or glorifying Aditi Mata. Payavrata worship by Aditi Mata. That is glorification. Why? Because Prabhupada wants to emphasize, and Krishna wants to emphasize, Anything, Prabhu?
No, nothing, Prabhuji. I requested other devotees. You can continue.
Now, what you are saying that?
No. I am asking all the devotees to on their camera if possible.
Okay.
You can continue, please.
Oh, if they are don't on also, it's good. No problem. No issues. No problem. Okay. So, so this is what we have to understand. You know, the point is very simple. So here, what I was saying, I forgot the flow. What I was saying. Every chapter, Mahabali's chapter, everywhere it is glorifying. Mahabali gave charity to Vamana. Mahabali was captured. Mahabali. Why Mahabali? Why not Vamana? Vamana is Krishna. Why is not glorified? So Prabhupada knows that he has to be glorified. Therefore, we have to understand there is a purpose behind the glorification. And because Prabhupada meditated on it. The same way, this chapter, he has meditated before writing the word Pandavas entire. So this is very important for us to meditate. And he wants to glorify the Pandavas. So what is the best thing what they have done is Pandavas? See, Pandavas retired time means they retired very quickly. They were not after notes. Now we can see people want to occupy 90 year also. We want to know this is my property, this is my house. I have built the house. My father even says now, I have built the house. I put water. I have put the bricks, cement and all. I put the water. My blood has gone into this building, as if this building is going to come. He used to tell, even today he's telling, I have built the house. So, but because at 90 you are attached, you should not be attached. This is the problem. And Maharaj says, detachment should be our nature. And what is the detachment gives? Maharaj has given a wonderful lecture. I will tell you that also. Detachment should be our nature. Detachment is a must. And you can understand the mood of the Pandavas. They were enjoying the rule after the Duryodhana and Parthi were killed. So they were under the protection of Krishna. They could have continued till 80 years, 90 years. Nobody could have stopped because they were controlling the entire age. But what they understood, when the Parikshit Maharaj became elder, when he's capable of managing the affairs, they trained him very nicely in Krishna consciousness. The sages have instructed him very nicely. As a Kshatriya, he is the Raja Rishi. He was perfectly cultivated. And then immediately, they handed over. Pandavas retired time. Timely means we should retire. Prabhuji and Mataji. So we should not interfere in the affairs of the children once we finish the responsibility of marriage. I'm telling you, this is very, very important for you. Because the children has to manage themselves. If there is any advice, we can give. And that's why our Varnashrama Dharma is kept like that. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means what? You have to go to the Vana. Your husband and wife go. Doesn't interfere in the family affairs. Just hand over the family to them. And if mother is there, mother can be said, Vanaprastha, both husband and wife goes. And then he takes sannyas. That is a move. So, our Maharaj used to say that we don't have to wear the sannyasa dress to become renounced, but we should be renounced. And that is very important. So, if you are attached, what will happen? Because the Pandavas, they handed over the property to Parikshit Maharaj, grandson, and they went. They were not attached. Arjuna said, no, I'm Gandhi Babu, Krishna is there, I can do so many things. No. He doesn't interfere. Just handed over the property to Parikshit and they went. And this is how we should not. And in fact, but you have to be very careful. Huh? Nowadays, you cannot have Parikshit Maharaj as our children. Now the children are very cranky and very cunning. So we have to be very careful. So when you do, the now present law says you do the settlement. Settlement means you can settle the property to your son's name, but you have the owner's right till you are alive and to your wife. Because what is happening? One thing happened, one family in Chennai, it's a very good family. That family, a Brahmin family, the son is working in US along with his wife. And what has happened? He came and his father died. He did the final rights. And then they had a property. That property is about 30 lakhs. So what he told his mother, let us sell the property. Okay? For father's property, let us sell because he got the legal certificate and this. Let us sell. And then I will do one thing. I will transfer the money to America and I will take you to America. And she said, no problem. I will do that. So she agreed. She believed her son. Then what has happened? The agreement was done. The settlement, without the settlement, the property was sold. The money was transferred to his account. She believed her as a son so innocently. And the son, what has happened? He took her to the airport. He didn't buy visa for her. He didn't tell her because she is not very literate. And then she took her to the airport. And the airport, he dropped her and he went alone to America. And she was crying literally without any money. And some or other, some relative took care of her, and the relative children took care of her. But imagine, because that's why we should not be foolish. The renunciation also should be intelligent. Please, Prabhuji, so that's why it is recommended that you do settlement. Settlement means you have the holding rights till the time you are alive, and you give it to your wife. Don't put your wife in the streets, and then give the property. Then they give. You detach. So the detachment also to be careful, but we should not claim another. So the detachment should be our nature. And the moment we interfere, actually there is one devotee. I'm getting another forum. That devotee, a very nice devotee, gem of a devotee, wonderful devotee. He's chanting 16 rounds and is very aspiring for some Maharaj. He's doing wonderful devotions, excellent devotions, wonderful realization he's having. He's doing wonderfully. He's doing everything. But what has happened? You won't believe me. The wife's mother, she's interfering. And this interference and polluted the daughter. And the daughter now is separated from the father. Who such a nice devotee. So painful now. And she cannot get a son-in-law like this. He's so service-minded. He is doing the cleaning and everything. Somehow she polluted the girl. The girl is not Krishna conscious. Therefore, they are suffering. The child is suffering. How much suffering is going? Because she wants to interfere and she wants to dictate terms to her father-in-law. This is what is happening now, current generation. Please don't dictate terms. As a daughter also, we have to see how we can help them and leave them. Because this is the detachment. Real devotee of Krishna is detached. Once married, what has happened to? Best example is Swayambhu Munu. Swayambhu Munu married Devavati. And he was saying, oh, my dear daughter, my dear daughter. He was crying when he left Kardama. But afterwards, did he come and interfere? Kardama, how did you treat my wife? How did you treat my child? Why she has been emaciated? Why you are not treating her properly? No, he didn't interfere. He went alone and he did Bhagavatam. Swayambhu Munu did not interfere to Kardama Muni at all. He handed over the child, Devavati, and it is your duty to take care. This is the beauty. So these are all practical examples from Bhagavatam for us to understand. It is not a theory. I'm not here to give theory. I'm not giving illusions. We have to have a practical derivation of it. So the word Pandavas retired timely means detachment. And this detachment we should cultivate. You won't get too much attached to children, and that will create problems. And what has happened to Dhritarashtra? We know. Leniency leads to distress. Because he didn't listen to Vidura. If he listened to Vidura, the whole Mahabharata could have been avoided. But he didn't do. So this is what has happened. And therefore, we have to be very careful that we should not pamper the children too much. We should correct the children. Doesn't mean we don't show love, but we have to correct the children. If they are wrong, they are wrong. If they are not able to cook, the girls are not able to cook, we have to tell them. Girls, I'm sorry, we have to cultivate them. I request Prabhuji and Matajis, please preach Krishna consciousness to all the devotees. Please go on and spread this Krishna consciousness. This is very, 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 very important. I'm feeling so much depressed. I'm hearing. Actually, my son is in, we are looking for alliance for our son. And then we are speaking to a girl. And the girl says, she doesn't have any bad habits when she was in India. She went to US, she's eating eggs, and she's drinking. She's a social drinker. I cannot give up the drinking. And she is a Brahmin, South Indian Brahmin. South Indian Brahmin means never takes eggs, never takes drinking, never smokes, never take non-veg. Forget about non-veg. We don't eat even eggs. In fact, my grandfather and my grandmother has never eaten onion and garlic in their life. This is how the Brahminical culture is. South Indian Brahminic culture is very austere. So, but now what is happening? The girl said, I went to America, I'm eating eggs. I'm eating this. The name of protein, the name of this. And she says, my son says, it is deal breaker. He said, deal breaker means I am born in Krishna consciousness. I cannot take, I have not tasted. So how can I deal with you? And you are a social drinker. So this cannot work out. Brahmin girls, please, Prabhujis and Matajis, please spread this Krishna consciousness. So important. So it's very important. So this detachment, because the mother and father doesn't know what they are doing. They are simply loving and allowing the girls to do whatever they want. They are not checking them. Are you drinking? Are you eating eggs? These are all the things we should ask. Lovingly, we have to ask and tell them the bad effects of taking this. You should nicely tell, because if you forcefully tell, it will react, backfire you. You have to be very careful in this. So, instruction should be given at the same time detached. And then our Maharaj used to say, we have to pray to Krishna intensively. Krishna, please enlighten my daughter that she should not do this. We have to pray to Krishna and tell, because we don't have any potency. So we have to understand this. So detachment should be our nature. And detachment means, it is very important. No? Parishit Maharaj also, the moment he heard that he's going to be cursed, immediately left the kingdom. He didn't think about it. He left. So the detachment should be our nature. And the detachment should be, and that's why the Pandavas retired time. And then there is a nice verse. The detachment will give us a lot of good things. I will tell you what is. There is a nice verse in the Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 9th chapter, 2nd verse. I will put this. So it says very nicely, Samesham Puro Jagnor Balino Anve Niramishaha Dadamisham Parityajya Sasukam Samaman Vida. Once a group of large hawks who were unable to find any prey attacked another weaker hawk who was holding some meat. At that time, being in danger of his life, the hawk gave up his meat, experienced Aquila. So there is a nice example given in the Bhagavatam. This 11th canto, 9th chapter, detachment from all that is material. This an exclusive chapter is talking about detachment. Here, the Avadhutas gives a nice example. They say that there was a hawk which was carrying a meat and he was flying up. And then what has happened? There were so many hawks who pounced upon that hawk to get that meat. And then this hawk realized, because of the meat, they are attacking. The only way is to drop it. Just drop it. Therefore, we have to drop this. Drop this mentality means between husband and wife, the children, and all the time, whenever somebody hurts our ego, just drop it. Forget and forgive. Who else? Forget and forgive. It is very important for us. Please don't carry it in your mind. So it is very, very important. Your ego will inflate you. Your mind will churn you all the time. Your mind is harass you. Why this person is written? Why? No, don't do it. This is the best way. Just drop it. So what will happen? After some time, your mind will become and you will be away from it. So many people will insult you. This just drop. Because we are attached to this body and attached to the ego, and anybody insults us, we get this. So detachment doesn't mean, these are all subtle aspects of bhakti we have to understand. So somebody may find faults. And then also in the detachment also, it's very important. Oh, I should have association of devotees, I should have association. But if there is no association attached with books, so that is also a detachment. You may not get association all the time. Ideal. Without satsanga, we cannot do bhakti. But sometimes we may not have association. We should be ready for that. Prabhuji, please, I request you, I pray at your feet. This is how we should detach. And our Maharaj exhibited this exemplary detachment. You know what has happened? In 2002, our Maharaj was in London and he had a stroke. He's a British passport. So he had a stroke in London and he was admitted in hospital. He was there for 15 days. And some or other, they were giving so many medicines. But somehow or other he was able to lift his hand and leg and everything. But 15 days he was there, and he told one of my god brother, his name is Devaki Nandan from Singapore. He told Devaki, now I'm not able to preach for 15 days. So I've decided to renounce the sannyasa. He says, I'm ready to renounce the sannyasa because I'm not able to preach. Sannyasi is supposed to preach, I'm not preaching. So I want to renounce the sannyasa. How much detachment is there? So sannyasi dress, once we wear, we don't want to give up. We are so much attached. We are so much attached to the property. We are so much attached. But here, Maharaj says, I'm ready to renounce. But Krishna gave him the benediction that he was able to preach till 2010. He could not, till death, he was preaching. When he was in hospital, Bhaktivedanta hospital in Bombay, he was preaching to the devotees. Doctors will come. He says, Maharaj, we have to give some medicine. Medicines, leave it. Let us discuss Bhagavatam. So this body is going to go. I will leave anytime. So he will give Bhagavatam class. And all the doctors were devotees. So they were listening. How come such an exalt? Because he was ready to give up. And then Kavichandra Maharaj came at the time. Kavichandra Maharaj just before that. And then he told Kavichandra Maharaj lovingly, I got a ticket to Vaikunta. So I'm waiting for the train. And I'm ready to go. So this is how, because this detachment should be there. And that's why Maharaj says all the time, be prepared for death. The moment we hear about the death, then we become sane. Anytime death can come. You can see how much problem now there's corona. So many devotees have been swallowed. And in fact, one of my friends was saying, there were about, I think, about 10,000 people in IT industries have died. In TCS, Tata Consultancy Service alone, 2,000 people have died. Big people have died. I was talking to one of the alliance for my son. There, the person who died because of corona. So, young fellow, 50, 52, died. So, it's very dangerous anytime. So, therefore, detachment should be. Maharaj says, I purchased the ticket, I'm waiting for the train to come. So, this is how he told Kavichandra Maharaj. Kavichandra Maharaj was amazed. Not only what to do, I'm going to leave the body, I'm going to leave the body. Maharaj said, I was smiling and I'm ready to leave. So, this is how we should be detached. Detachment means everything, even detachment. These devotees, there are 20 devotees. These devotees belong to me. They should not go to any other congregation. All this, even bhakti also, we want everyone, all the devotees to worship us. They should not go to any other devotee. And they should not appreciate any other devotee. That is also not correct. Suppose somebody appreciates somebody better preaching, then we become envious. And some Mataji says your prasadam is not good, then we become upset. Because in the bhakti also, we carry the baggage of attachment. Please, material baggage we carry in the spiritual life also. Therefore, we have to be very careful. So, the Pandavas retired time means we have to be detached. Detachment should be our nature. And that's Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, how you should work in this life. What is that verse? 5:10. What is that verse? Brahmanya adaya karmani sangyam takva karodya. Lippete na papena patma padrai vapas. So, Krishna says in the 5:10 Bhagavad Gita, so, Brahmanya adaya karmani. Brahmanya adaya karma means, adaya means renounce, resign. Daily we have to resign from all that. So, I am doing sabji, I am doing this, I am doing this service, I am doing the preaching. Prabhuji, I am preaching, so I am become a big fellow. No. All that we are all doing service. This is also my service, and you are layering this also service. Shravanam, Kirtanam is all devotion service. There is no difference. So this is what we have to understand. And we become proud. Pratishasha, we call it. Because also that's why detachment should be that we are here temporarily. And Maharaj says this consciousness will come when we have waiting room consciousness. Waiting room consciousness, I will explain it. Suppose I am going to the, assume that I am in New Delhi railway station. So the New Delhi railway station has got one train going to Jaipur, one train going to Calcutta, one train going to Chennai, one train going to Bihar, Patna, one train is going to Nagpur, Pune. So I am in a train which I'm going to Chennai from New Delhi railway station. Am I bothered? Somebody is going to Calcutta? No. He is having a different package. I'm not bothered. So what I'm trying, I'm waiting for my train, the platform to come, and then I go. And this is how we should be like waiting of consciousness. And that's why we will develop the detachment. The detachment is so important for Prabhuji's and Maharaj's. And the detachment from the ego and mind should be there. That is very important for us. Detachment of property. Detachment bhakti, we discussed. Detachment in office also. We have to work. Brahmanya Adhar Karmani, Sangam Takwa. Remove. Takwa means let go of the association. Karoti, whatever we are doing. So, Lipyadaina Papad. Then no sins attack. So, Padma Bhattara Evam. Just like a lotus flower, which is in the gutter but is not getting affected. We are in the material world. We are in the material world, which is full of kichara, but we are not contaminated. This is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So, Maharaj gives a nice example. Detachment. The moment we are detached, that will give pleasing attitude. The hawk, we saw, the moment it dropped the meat, become very happy. Because no hawk is attacking. So it's very happy. So the detachment will give pleasing attitude. And the pleasing attitude will inspire us to do bhakti nicely. Religious principles will be impelled in our life. So detachment will give us pleasing attitude. The pleasing attitude will give us to do nice devotional service. If we do the nice devotional service, automatically the contamination of material existence goes away. This is a formula Maharaj has said. So detachment will give you pleasing attitude. Pleasing attitude will give you nice devotional service. We execute. The moment we execute nice devotional service, automatically you will be purified of all contamination. So detachment should be our nature. And this detachment is not so easy. It is a slow process of detachment. So unless we are attached, so by nature, human beings are all social animals. We are attached. It is a natural. We cannot be alone. Okay, that is a fact. Even though we want to be alone, but actually, Maharaj says we are breathing alone, we are dying alone, we are suffering in sickness alone, everything is alone. Correct? We are eating alone, we are digesting alone, we are inhaling air alone, everything we are doing alone. We are not dependent. Correct or not? We are alone only. Actually speaking, we are alone in this material. Suppose husband, wife is there. The husband is suffering from some disease. The wife will say, oh, I pity you. But she can experience the pain that the husband is suffering. No. Pain has to be suffered alone. Our karma has to be suffered alone. This is how it is. So we are all alone, but we are not alone. Why? The only companion which is accompanying us is Krishna. The only continuous companion, interminably compassionate companion, and continuous companion, an eternal companion is Krishna, who is accompanying us as a Paramatma. Therefore, we have to depend on him. So we have to get attached to him. This attachment will give detachment. The detachment will give pleasing attitude. The pleasing attitude will execute the devotion service nicely. The devotion service will result in purification of our existence. And purification of existence will ensure to go us back to God. So this is the 5-step process which Krishna has given. And this 5-step process was given by my Maharaj. I'm not stating my own statement. Please, my realization not. Please don't take it as my realization. This realization comes from my spiritual master. So I'm very happy to share this. So there are so many things to be spoken, but we'll go to the next. So Arjuna, on hearing the departure of Yadus and Vrishnis, so even Yudhishthira Maharaj was startled by this. And therefore, he was defeated by coward men. When he tried to protect the Gopas and Gopis, he was defeated by coward. And then when he realized that Gandiva, wow, and then he remembered. He says, this Gandiva, wow, I was able to kill big sharks, like animals, like whales and sharks, like Timingala, he says, Bhagavatam. Timingala and Bhagavatam mentioned first kind of 15th chapter. Like I was able to defeat Bhishma. I was able to defeat Drona, Kripacharya, Karna. They are all big. And I am a small fish in the ocean, the battle. The battle, I was a small fish. But these people are, but okay, one, because of Krishna's potential. Therefore, we have to remember, without Krishna, so the detachment should come with attachment to Krishna. So we link it to it. And therefore, in the 15th, first canto, 15th chapter, 21st verse, very important. This previous verse, the 22 before, this verse is very, very important. How we should be understand that we are dependent on Krishna in everything. And that's why we remember the word CNN. We have no capacity, we are not required, we are nothing. And that's what Arjuna is telling us. That by Danus Tadaisham Tardohayaste Soham Nati Napatayaya Amananti Sarvam Shanena Tadabut Asat Ishariktam Vashvam Udam Gokara Tamivoptum Ushwam. Beautiful verse. He says, Ishariktam. And that Shanena means I'm having the same Vandivavo and the same arrows. I am the same Arjuna. I am even the same chariot. And I am the same Arjuna. All the king offer the respect. But in the absence of Lord Krishna, Ishariktam, all of them at a moment's notice become null and void. Without Krishna, we are null and void all the time. So every time we take the chanting beats, we have value. Otherwise, because Bhagavatam tells very nicely, the moment the super soul leaves the body, automatically soul repels the food. This is a symptom. Suppose you don't feel hungry. When the hunger doesn't come, hunger and thirst doesn't come. That's a symptom the soul is going to eat. In fact, my uncle in 2010, he's a voracious eater. He was given at that time in 2010, just 3 days before he was dead, he was given 5 idlis. He said 1 idli he took and he said, I don't want anything more. I was surprised. How come 1 idli is refusing? My aunt told he refused idli. Even 8 idlis he will see. He's a voracious eater. And why he took only 1 idli? And then only 3/4, and he said, I don't want it. Why? Because the super soul has decided to leave the body. The moment the super soul decides to leave the body, we cannot stop it. That means Krishna, our body becomes null and void. The super soul leaves, the soul also leaves. And then this body becomes null. And that's what Arjuna realizes, that without Krishna's mercy, I am nothing. And the whole chapter is dedicated to Krishna's glorification. Therefore, our Maharaj has given a wonderful lecture. I'll just give the points to understand. So, what we have to understand from this particular verse is that understanding the greatness of Krishna. Greatness of Krishna means not just doing arti, just not doing chanting. We have to remember Krishna is so great. And every day, when we sleep at the end of the day, the morning also when we wake up, thank you, Krishna. I'm able to wake up for you for Mangalarti. I'm able to chant your holy names. Krishna, you have given me an opportunity. Thank you very much. This gratefulness, this kritagna is the best attitude for us to glorify Krishna. This, if you have a kritagna for Krishna, then automatically you will glorify. Not that you do Deepa, Dupa, and all this. I'm doing chap and bhog. No, that is not. That is a part of the love and devotion we have to do. But that is not the main ingredient. The main ingredient, the feeling of gratitude towards Krishna. Every day you are able to wake up for Mangalarti, it is Krishna's mercy. And every day night you are able to sleep properly. Thank you, Krishna. Today I didn't have any trouble. I was able to chant the holy names. I was able to read Bhagavatam. Thank you very much, Krishna. Because there is no material disturbance for me to do the bhakti. We don't know how many disturbances we are going to have in it. So one of our Godmother Kalchakra, Prabhu, just 1.5 months back, his father's brother, younger brother died. And within 1 month, father's younger brother's son, 36-year-old devotee, who is in Vrindavan, serving in Vrindavan, he also died. They have just looked for an alliance. They have finalized the deal for the alliance. And he was working in Vrindavan. He was working in accounts department in Vrindavan. It's a BCom he studied. 36-year-old, he died. So we don't know how many deaths are coming to it. And I can see that Prabhuji, the Kalchakra Prabhu, was so strong in bhakti that he's disturbed a little bit, but he's able to do bhakti nicely. Because the detachment nature is very important. And I am very much perturbed about him. But he is not perturbed, he is taking classes nicely. And this is how we should understand that Krishna's greatness is always there. And we are temporary. And then uselessness of this body. We have to understand. This body is just like a basma. It is eaten by, it becomes stool and worm if it's eaten by the jackals and all. And then or it will become like a waste, if the eagles eat us, our body. So this is useless of this body. Bhagavatam tells, we become bhashma. We are buried and the insects eat us. So this is how we become krimi bhashma, become insects and worms. Therefore, our body is useless. then leading a simple life. And then detachment should be our nature, pleasing attitude, and we should not waste time in our life because I don't know, the time will not come. This 7, 8, 30, 8:45 will not come in our lives. So we have to be very careful. And changing our lifestyle to Krishna consciousness is very important. Understanding nothing depends on us. We think that we are without us, the whole family will collapse. No, nothing will happen. Everything will go on. So now, actually, my father-in-law died 2 years back. The house is going on. My mother-in-law is managing someone. We are there to take care of her, and we have come from Abu Dhabi. Krishna made the arrangement that I had forced to come from Abu Dhabi. Now we are taking care of her. She was feeling she was alone. So Krishna arranges everything. Nothing depends on us. We think without us, the family will not do. This ego means we are attached. That will not give you pleasing attitude. Pleasing attitude not there, then we cannot do nice devotion service. We cannot execute nice. When you cannot execute nice devotion service, there is no question of purification. And there is no purification. Where is the chance of going to go there? So this is how we should understand. And Krishna is our capital. Krishna is our capital means this is our main investment. We have to invest our mind thinking. Tat buddhayas, tat atmanas, tat nishtas. Let us invest our mind, let us invest our intelligence, and let us invest our faith in Krishna. And that is very important. Tat atmanas, tat nishtas, tat parayam. Fully depend on him. That is very important for us. So we have to get attached to Krishna. And that's what Arjuna is telling. Arjuna says, I remember all the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. So now that's why we have to meditate on the instructions. So you have to just become an instrument. And then Krishna says to Arjuna, so I have killed already Drona, I have killed Bhishma, I have killed what is it? I've killed Karna, I've killed Bhishma, I've killed Drona, I've killed this. Who killed Abhimanyu? Who is that person? What is his name? I forgot his name. Who killed Abhimanyu? Can anybody tell me? Jayatratha. Jayatratha also. Everybody is killed. I killed everybody. You, Nimitta Matra. You have to become an instrument. Instrument means, and what is the use of being an instrument? It's very good. Our Maharaj gives a nice example. Suppose you are having a knife, and with that knife you kill somebody. So what will happen? The person who kills, suppose you are killing, you will be held in the court. But what I will do with the knife? The knife will be an evidence. With this knife you have killed. But the knife will be put in jail. No, knife will not be put in jail. The jail, they will put only the person who killed. So if you act as an instrument of Krishna, then you will always be away from all material problems. But if you see you are the doer, then you are get bound up in this material. The jail of material world, you will get bound. So this is what we have. We have to just become an instrument in the hands of Krishna. We have to become just an instrument in the hands of our children. We have to become just an instrument in the hands of our father. We have to become just an instrument in the hand of our husband. Just we have to understand we are an instrument in serving all these. Not that I am controlling, but we have to correct them. That's a different issue. But your consciousness, we have to correct. Just like, don't be like, I'm an instrument, I will not interfere in their affairs. No. Just like what Dhritarashtra said, don't do it. We have to correct them. But always do it as an instrument of Krishna. I'm doing on behalf of Krishna. This consciousness, mentality in our mind is very important. And this consciousness just being an instrument. You see, Arjuna become just an instrument. He became victorious. Who glorified? Yatra Yogvesha Krishna, Yanta Bhadho Dhanutra. So, Krishna was not glorified. Who is glorified? Arjuna is the greatest warrior. He won the battle of Kurukshetra. We are glorifying only Arjuna. So, he just became an instrument and you are glorified. You understand that point? And Prabhupada did. I am just an instrument in the hands of Bhakti Siddhartha. Then what has happened? So, Narendra Modi says that we have to learn from Prabhupada. And they issued a 125 big one. Prabhupada was looking for an appointment with Prime Minister Modi, with the Prime Minister Mahatma Gandhi. And he was looking for appointment for Rajendra Prasad. He was looking appointment for Deputy Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Nobody gave him. No governor, no prime minister gave him audience. But what has happened? Krishna said, okay, you are just become an instrument. At that time, you are not. But now, after his departure after 1977, 23 plus 21, 44 years, what has happened? Prime Minister Modi says, I'm issuing, we are very proud to issue this 125 rupee coin. Thanks to Gopal Krishna Maharaj. We are ever grateful to Gopal Krishna Maharaj for getting this done. And what has happened? Not only that, and then he told Narendra Modi, who doesn't understand, he said, best business is done by ISKCON. With 40 rupees, he has created $40 million. Imagine. And therefore, he told all the businessmen in India, he addressed the whole public that we have to learn the techniques of business from ISKCON. How much credit Prabhupada is learning? Because he was just an instrument. Just become an instrument in the hands of your spiritual master. Just in the hands of instrument in the hands of God. Lot of things to be done, but we have time is essence. So we leave that because I don't want that. There are a lot of things, you know. So everything, and then how to kill Jayatratha, he was confused. Jayatratha could not be killed. 5:30 over, everything was a problem. And then Krishna said, don't worry. And then he circumambulated. He was about to kill himself. And then what has happened? Krishna removed the disc from the sunlight and he took. Because Arjuna was just an instrument in the hands of Krishna. And Krishna said, I am planning. I will put the sunlight, I will put the Sodam Chakra to stop the sunlight. And therefore, these people will become very happy. And then you can kill Jayatratha. So much plan. And then not only that, while killing Jayatratha, you have to ensure that his head falls in the lap of his father so that he touches, he also dies. Because otherwise you will be killed. If he touches the ground, you will be killed. So his one stroke, Krishna is thinking too much. It's called Hari Meda Medasa. His brain is working out to protect the devotees. So you have to become just an instrument in the hands of Krishna. And that's what Prabhupada did. That's what Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati did. That's what Gopala Krishna Maharaj is doing. That's what Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is doing. All the sannyasis is doing. So we have to cultivate this attitude of just becoming it. And that's what, if you are not becoming an instrument, then you become devoid of Krishna. When you are devoid of Krishna, you are exposed to this material world and you are charged with problems. Then you have to suffer because you think you are the cause of this. Now we'll go into the Sapa. How the Sapa happened in the 11th canto, first chapter is very nicely mentioned. So, this Shukadeva Goswami says, 11.1.5, he says very nicely, the reason for the Sapa. He gives the reason. 11.1.5. He says very nicely. Evam Vibhisito Rajan Satya Sankalpa Ishvaraha Sapa Brajena Vipranam Sanjare Swakulam Bubuhu. He says, my dear King, Supreme Lord, Almighty Lord, was desirous to come to pass, thus made up his mind, he withdrew his family on the pretext of a curse. So here, Rajana or Brahmanas withdrew of his own kulam, pretext Sapa Vijayana. Sapa Vijayana. It's a very important point, Parikshit Maharaj says. And the pretext of a curse, Parikshit Maharaj is saying. Sukadeva Goswami is saying. And then the moment he said that, then immediately Parikshit Maharaj is asking a question very nicely. If that is the case, then he is asking a question, how come they did this? How they acted? And then 11, 13 and 15, he says that they were acting like an uncle. And then he was asking a question, how come they did it? My dear Parshid, he said that, then how come they offend how they can offend being devotees of Krishna? They are associates of Krishna. How they can offend the Brahmanas? And then Krishna says, it is all Krishna's arrangement. It is the supreme will of the Lord. Krishna wants to wind up the pastimes. So he's slowly but steadily eliminating all that because they could not be fought with anybody. They are very powerful. So they had to fight among themselves. So Krishna enacted this whole pastime. Therefore, we have to understand the right context under which it is done. So different interpretations are there, but we have to understand it is the transcendental pastime, Leela, Moshe Leela. What has happened? You know the pastime. Anyway, briefly I will tell. What has happened? These people, what they did also not correct. The Yadus, intoxicated, what they did? they took some moshal and iron piece, and they kept something. They kept something inside, and they went and spoke to the Brahmanas, Narada, all exalted sages were there. Samba was a boy. They made him pregnant, like, and they told him, "Can you tell what boy is good?" So these sages, they know, they are Dirgadarsh. They can see through sari, and they know he is a male. And then they will become, because it was creating fun, and it was creating making the fun of the sages. And therefore, this intoxication is not accepted. Offending a devotee is very, very dangerous. And therefore, Krishna wants to enact this person. Just like Jaya Vijaya, the son of Kumara has stopped. Krishna did not interfere in the curse. Same way, Krishna doesn't want to interfere in the curse of the Brahmanas. Because they did it, they have to suffer. And why they did it? That is Krishna's arrangement. But why? They should not have done that. The Yadus should not have done. They should not have put Samba and went before and asked this. So Brahmanas and Vaishnavas are to be regarded as great, and they should not be done. So it's very important for us to understand this very important point, that Parikshit Maharaj, so much he was asking, how come the Vrishnis they can behave like this? So we have to understand the main point behind it is that even if you are an associate of devotee of Krishna, you cannot take things for granted. We have to be humble. We have to become instrument in the hands of Krishna. Just like Arjuna was there. If you become puffed up and you become egoistic, then you have to suffer. Then you will start offending. Even for joke's sake, we should not offend the devotees. If they are affected, then you are finished. And Bhagavatam tells very nicely. So they acted, Bhagavatam tells how they acted in front of the sages. He says very, very important. He says very nicely, Avinataha, not humble, Vinitavat, acting as if humble, and then Vevesta, dressing like Sri Vesitaha. The Sambhavas, see, they were not humble, they were arrogant, and they were acting as if humble. Please tell us what it is. So, this acting on humility is very dangerous in Bhakti. Let us be humble. Don't show humility. Humility is not it's a show business. Prabhuji, I am the most fallen. Prabhuji, please forgive me. Please go and touch the feet of the devotees. Prabhu, I am the most fallen devotee in this world, Prabhu. Please give me your mercy. Don't tell all these gimmicks. Everybody knows you are arrogant. Don't do all these gimmicks. Just be humble. Maharaj is just humble. Humble means you are humble. Always think that you are an instrument of Krishna. No need to broadcast. Here, they are acting as if humble before the sages. So this is very important lesson we are learning from. And we cannot, don't criticize, because whole Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Indra, all the past tense, all these people are eternalized, the Bhagavatam. They are doing it with a purpose for teaching the common man. If this pastime is not there, how we will understand that even if a devotee, how you should behave? We don't know. So they were devotees, they were behaving wrong. So these pastimes are enacted by Krishna, enacted in the pages of Bhagavatam for us to understand, so that we don't do this in our life. Otherwise, they're very humble on this. So we should not think that, oh, Arjuna is in illusion, Indra is in illusion, Brahma is in illusion. No, they are not in illusion. They know they are acting on behalf of Krishna. Even Duryodhana, even Dhritarashtra. So don't blame anyone. The characters, Karna, Dronacharya, Bhishma, all are pure. They are acting on behalf of Krishna. That's all. So that we can understand and apply in our lives. These are all examples of the pastimes of Krishna, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam. All these are pastimes. So that we can understand and how we should not act and how we should act. This is the basic. How to behave, how not to behave is also mentioned. So here they were acting like this. And therefore Bhagavatam tells us very nicely, 10.4.46. Very important verse for us to understand. It says very nicely, Ayushyam Yasho Dharmam Lokan Ashita Evacha Antrishayam Sarvani Pumsa Mahat Adikrama. My dear king, when a man prosecutes great souls, all his benediction of longevity, his longevity is gone. Beauty is gone. Fame gone. Religion gone. Blessings and promotion to higher planets. But in this case, because they are pure devotees, they are associates of Krishna, that exemption is given. Because they are associates of the Lord. So they were able to go to the Golak Dham. In our case, it will not happen. So this is what we have to understand from the pages of the Bhagavatam. And therefore, they fought among themselves. What has happened? that Kushala was broken into pieces. They were cursed. So they went with the Kushala. Samba was dressed like a woman. They went before the sages and asked what child is going to bring. They know and they cursed. It becomes the iron rod. The iron rod, they came to know, they became humble. They understood the humility. Their ego was shattered. They were cursed. They said the iron rod, which is within the womb, within the stomach of Samba, will kill the entire dynasty. The moment they heard, they came to senses. They become upset. The Adapyamana, they became repentful. And then they went immediately to Ugrasena. Ugrasena said, powder into pieces. They powdered into pieces, and this powder was thrown into the ocean. And these pieces became like bamboo sticks. And the same bamboo sticks, they were drunken with wine. They fought among each other and they killed each other, mercilessly killed each other. And that's what Bhagavatam tells, that the bigger ones, stronger one kills the weaker ones. And the biggest one kills the smaller ones. So that's how all the people of the Yadu dynasty has to be annihilated. And Krishna wants to annihilate this whole past. And that's what Arjuna is mentioning, that how this, all the people were killed for the sake of, because he wants to remove the burden of the yoke. So this is very important for us to understand from this pastime that how we should not behave. And then we have understood the whole purpose of this. This chapter is very important. And then how we have to be detached, how the detachment will give you pleasing attitude, and pleasing attitude will summarize. Pleasing attitude will give us nice bhakti. Nice bhakti will purify our existence, purification of existence. That's what we understand from detachment. How the Pandavas attacked family, how we should not interfere too much in the affairs of our children, how we should take the Vanaprastha and ready to take some rest. This detachment should be our nature. Even in bhakti also, we should be detached. I am liking the service. I do Prashadam service. I like this one. I do this puja service. I do Aarti. This is what I like. No, everything should be. We should be ready to give all types of services. Teaching service, any service, Kirtan service, anything. Kirtan, I only do the best Kirtan. That is also attachment. That attachment also is not real. So that attachment should be there. And therefore, it is very important. And then the detachment will come. Once we understand, we are nothing. And that's what Arjuna understood. Isharikam. Being reward of Krishna means we are nothing. Therefore, we should understand the greatness of the Lord, and we are just becoming an instrument. Just becoming an instrument is the best position for a devotee. That's the ultimate goal. And if you don't hold that position, what has happened to the Rishis? They said they are the better devotees. They were egoistic. And then they want to test the sages. What is the result of testing the sages? They got cursed with the Brahmanas, the whole dynasty is. So Krishna doesn't spare his own Yadu dynasty also. If you violate or offend the Brahmana or Vaishnava. So we should not offend, and we should not act as humility. We should be really humble in all. Just be humble. Don't broadcast humility. That's what Prabhupada writes. Don't broadcast humility. We are not here to broadcast. Prabhupada, I am the most fallen servant. No need to tell. Just tell them. We sincerely pray. We can pray to the devotees. Prabhu, please pray for me that I should get bhakti. That is a sincere prayer. There is no problem. But when we say that I am the most fallen and all this, don't tell. So I means I is coming. There is no humility. Where the I comes, where is humility? So we have to be very careful in our bhakti and how we should not offend the Brahmanas, and Krishna doesn't protect. So we have to be very careful in our bhakti, and that's why we can perfect our existence. And we should become an instrument in the hands of the Lord. And we are no capacity, we are nothing, and we are not required. And that's the mood of the mood. Then that will be recognized by the Lord, and we will be glorified. And then Prabhupada did this. He was just an instrument of Krishna, and without any iron, and completely detached. Prabhupada was never attached to any glorification. He was completely detached. And therefore, he had a pleasing attitude, and a pleasing attitude gave him a nice devotion service. Nice devotion service gave him purification. He was purified from birth. And because of purification, he purified the world. He was purified and he purified the world. And that is the beauty of Srila. So we stop here. Krishna Bhagavatam 1.15.22-26 ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Rajat Prabhu, Pad Prabhu, and Anup Prabhu, and Sham Shara Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful lecture.
Prabhu, one question.
So if
just one question, Prabhu, sorry. Actually, usually 30
Yes.
people come. Nowadays, only 17, 18. What has happened?
That only from this week we are noticing this. We are also not sure. Means we are also not sure what happened actually, because in last week only people were turning up. Suddenly it has dropped.
Oh,
So yes,
please pursue them, please, and ask them what
yes,
mistakes we have done. If any devotee like me made any mistakes, so that we can correct ourselves, so that we can bring back to them to the Krishna consciousness. It is so important. And ask them for forgiveness if we have made any mistakes. That's why we should give an opportunity for us to correct ourselves, So, because suddenly I was living 30, 32, now suddenly 17, I'm really concerned. Anyway, it's only a concern. Nothing. We'll pray to Krishna. Krishna will arrange. So maybe we have to improve our quality of our preaching, or improve our quality of becoming an instrument of Krishna. So many things we can work out on our behavior and character, which will attract the people to come to Krishna. Because our character behavior only attracts, nothing else attracts. Right? Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Sorry. Any
so
questions?
If you have any question, they can ask Prabhuji and type in the comment box. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji, I have a question. You are speaking today on detachment, and
Yes.
detachment will be, it's very difficult. Means when we are doing the spiritual activities, it's comes, but again we go to the material world and all. So you are also speaking about detachment on in professional or work life.
Correct.
So how that is, and please guide us.
Yes, bro. Very good. Very good question. Excellent question. So, our Maharaj is given a nice formula. What he said that we have to work in such a way that with full absorption in our work, as if we are doing. Okay? In the work, what we do in the office, we should be done with full dedication and devotion. As if without us, this work will not go. That mentality should be there. But at the end of the work, we should offer the results to Krishna. We should work with full dedication, immaculately, perfectly, we should try to work. We should not be dereliction in duties or shirkar. We are not shirkar, we are workers. So we should work with intense absorption. And what is required in the office, we should work with full absorption. We do the justification. So what our Maharaj says very nicely, if you do your work in office perfectly, even if it takes time, you may have to sit late to finish the job. It is worth it, because the moment you are completely absorbed and you do your job perfectly, then what happens? Automatically you are free from the work. And this is the secret of getting detached. But the only thing is, we should not get attached to the results. Somebody give promotion, somebody gives increment, don't get attached. That's how. Brahmanya Adhar Karmani Sangam Tatva Karani. Every day in the evening, you daily resign. Daily you resign. Daily resign. Resign means we should resign from the mentality of getting attached to the fruits of the work. That's what Krishna wants. Krishna says, you have got a right to do the duty. Right to do the duty perfectly. Samachara. Samachara means Prabhupada writes the third chapter. Samachara means perfectly you have to do. Samachara means perfect. There is no question of, I will do half. The devotee always does the work perfectly, but at the same time he is detached. And that's why we do it as if without us nothing will work. But at the end of the day, the moment you do excellently, automatically you will be recognized. And the recognition comes or not, we offer it to Krishna. Therefore, what has happened? We become detached. And we don't get attached. The results comes, we offer it to Krishna. Krishna, please, because of your mercy, test. That's how we should operate in the office also. This we can, it is not easy, Prabhu. It's a challenge, big challenge. But our Maharaj said that we should try. One day we will become perfect. So we are in the process of the perfection. And Krishna will eventually purify us. The more we think, and that's why I said today, just like Arjuna was thinking he was just an instrument. So, nimitta matram bhava. So we think we are just an instrument doing the work for Krishna, even the office work. The boss is also Krishna. The boss is pleased means Krishna is pleased. You should never think boss is an animal. Boss is an enemy. Never think we should think like that. Because boss nature He's material man. He will harass you. Doesn't matter for us. But we do our work perfectly to satisfy to the best extent to him. To the best of our capability, we should satisfy. Then what happens? Automatically, what has happened? I used to fight in our office. They don't like me also in marketing. Every day they were fighting. Every day. Because I used to fight for money because I am a finance man. So you won't believe it. When I resigned, they told Sai Kumar, I have never seen such a person who is so sincere in his work, and you are after our blood, and we love it. And during I was working, they were just criticizing me. They were condemning me. But when I left, they gave me a special gift. And they said both the vice president and the manager, the senior manager, the head of marketing, and the chief manager and the VP, vice president marketing, both of them called me, Sai Kumar, you come. We want to speak to you 15 minutes. And he told me that nobody can do like you. And even today they are telling me, nobody is there to follow for all this. Because I never want to share. Because I took this Camco company, Ityas Engineering, it's my company. I want my money in time. If you don't get my money in time, I will fight you. And fight in the midst, in a professional way, not in the fight. But suppose they will bring the aircraft. Okay, they'll bring the aircraft and their contract is not sent. And then I will not leave them. Every 2 hours I will send them. Because already we are working, money is gone. Where is the money? The aircraft is in the hangar. I want money. Maintenance, I'm doing it. I'm spending money. I'm spending my materials. I'm putting my manpower. I want my money. And I will tell them, I spent $100,000 today. Where is my fixed price? Where is the contract signed? I will chase him. He knows that. So I will chase. He didn't, at the time he didn't like. Sai Kumar is a pain. He will say, he will tell my boss, your Sai Kumar is a pain. We don't want to see this fellow. Like that they hate me when I was working. When I left, they understood the value. They said, you are an excellent fellow who's sincere in getting the money for this company. So you will be recognized. So this is how it is. So it is not, it's not for a broadcasting mind, but this is, in fact, I was surprised when they gave me a gift because marketing and me always on loggerheads. We are like having swords. I'm a sword in my hand, they are having a sword in my hand. And there are two people. I'm just a manager. There is a head, there is a VP. Two people are fighting with me against one. And whole marketing department will fight. So they were thinking Sai Kumar is a real pain. But when I left, they understood the value. They said that you are a... So that's how we have to work as sincerely as possible. And then what will happen? This will attract because they were fighting with me all the time. So then they understood. I was surprised when they gave me a gift. I said that I didn't expect any gift from you. I was expecting bash from you. And you will be celebrating my going. I thought, no, we are not celebrating your... We are feeling pained by your going. And they ask me why you are going, what is the reason and all. There were so many reasons I have to leave. So this is how we should understand that we should work in such a way that will attract the attention of all the people. You will be recognized. If you work sincerely, you will be recognized. Krishna will make you. Consciousness is not a ordinary process. It is the supreme. We are linking with the supreme, no? Krishna, eventually you will be recognized. Okay? Anybody else? Any Matajis?
Very well answered, Prabhuji.
Okay. Anything else?
Question?
Nothing is there, we can close.
Prabhuji, another question I only have.
Okay.
You talked about again correction and fault finding. So
yeah.
to understand that is also very vital because we always think that correction, we are always correcting with field, but actually we might be fault finding also. So how to understand?
That's a thin line. I agree with you. Correction means, you see, there are two aspects we have to see. Whom we are correcting. Okay. Now, with regard to our own children, our own husband, our own wife, okay, they are part of the family. Okay. There we have got every right to correct them. Okay. Even if you find that they are doing not correct, just like we cannot keep quiet. I will not do fault finding with my own. They are also devotees. I will not fault find with them. What has happened? What has happened to Dhritarashtra? He completely failed miserably. He didn't correct his child. Yudhishthira told him to correct, but he didn't correct. So what is the result? Great Mahabharata. So even if your own children, the correction is required, we have to do the correction. Lovingly, we have to tell them the consequences of their pitfalls, their mistakes in a nice way. And especially with the devotees, if you have a good relationship with them, you can tell them lovingly and ask them for forgiveness. Because one devotee told me, no, I remember that before I had problems in the office, he said, when I chant with you, I become blissful. Now I chant with you, I become agitated, he said. So he says that, when he told that I'm agitated, then I told him, yes, the agitation because I don't have a pleasing attitude. I don't have any detachment. I'm suffering from this. Because I'm going through some stress because I'm not Krishna conscious. The moment we are not Krishna conscious, then even if we correct the people, because we don't have authority. Children, wife, we have authority. But we don't have authority to the elders. We don't have authority to others. We can request them. So if you want to tell the Prabhu, please just take care of this. Like that, we have to tell them. So we depend on our relationship with the. It depends, We cannot tell everybody across the board. We have to understand our relationship with the devotee. That the devotee really recognizes that we are the Shiksha Guru. So he accepts us as a Shiksha Guru. So how many factors are there? It is not one-to-one basis. But what we can do generally, we can lovingly tell them. Not purpose of fault finding, but purpose of correction. It's a thin line, but we have to do it discreetly and pray to Krishna. And that's why I said, we should always pray to Krishna, even to tell your own children to correct. Because Krishna has to enlighten them. Whatever you are saying, it has to be accepted by the super soul. Unless the super soul accepts, the soul will not accept. The soul doesn't accept, then it will be a fault finding. And fault finding means, putinati means you will be in trouble. So that's why we have to be very careful in correcting the other living. So because we tend to criticize, and that criticism is the biggest what is it? Criticism is the biggest fault. That is a clear downfall for the devotee. Therefore, we have to be very careful. We don't criticize, but we correct them lovingly. We have to pray to Krishna intensively to really correct them. That's how we should. We can try, and if it backfires, don't do, just avoid. Avoid them in the sense, Prabhu, please forgive me if I have done any offense to you, any fault finding. Please forgive me and ask for forgiveness. Don't have the ego. Don't ask them forgiveness so that they are not offended. Because that offense will have some reaction to us. So better, because devotee offense is very difficult. So all offenses are okay. Devotee offense is very, very careful. So that's why we have to correct them. Because we are in a position, we are in the senior position, we have to correct. Actually, sometimes it happened to me also. I have to do the correction. But what has happened in Abu Dhabi? We were trying to distribute. One devotee was trying to distribute the books, and that Mataji, she is known to us. Mataji complained to me, saying that this Prabhuji is forcing me to buy for 2,000 dirhams books. Every year I am purchasing 500,000. Now this year he says you might buy 2,000. Then I called the devotee, Prabhu, this Mataji is feeling stressed. So they want to buy 500,000, which they are giving. So you can ask them 1,000, but 2,000 is difficult for me. So please don't do this. This is not correct to do. Please think about it. Please forgive me if I offended you. But that Mataji, because this very nicely we have to tell. So what has happened? The Prabhuji understood. Yes, I should not. And then he did trouble. Then it went off smoothly. So that's how we have to tell loving. So this is very important. Very, very wonderful question. Both the questions are excellent. And that's very good for practical application. Thought that I shared with you some realization. Because a guru or a senior devotee corrects, nobody minds. If you are a devotee, just beginning devotee, and you want to correct somebody, then they will not accept. Because their ego will flare up. It's natural. Even among God brothers, if you sannyasis, Guru Maharaj corrects us, chastises us, he will accept. Because he's a pure devotee. But other God brother corrects us, we become offended. It is natural because we feel the ego is, this Prabhuji is my like me. He's also a disciple. What is that? Like that. So that tendency is there, then we have to be very careful with that. Not to correct them. No? We just pray to Krishna. Because if you offend, then they will take it to a different level. It will be a problem. So that complication we should have. You should see the nature of the devotee and then go and correct. In fact, we're dealing with alliance, and one girl was not willing to come to America, and I motivated and I told the daughter's father in a nice way, and I told him, I'm not giving any instruction, I'm just giving my piece of advice, my experience, and please don't get offended if I tell this. And then he said, thank you very much for your wonderful advice. So if you ask for forgiveness while trying to correct them, then it will work wonders. This is how the devotee. Devotee is always humble. He never takes the higher position. That Krishna consciousness will give you that. Please, I am not offending you, bro. Please. Like that, you start. Then it is very good. That's the trick. Try in this direction. And then Krishna will guide you.
So, any devotee have any question? Okay, I see a comment from Manisha Mataji. She is saying, thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Detachment point is what I am taking away from this session, although it is difficult but not impossible.
Yes. We are all struggling in the detachment. And detachment also, I have a verse. Can you open the verse 3:7-12? It is mentioned as 3:7-12, 3rd canto, 7th chapter, 12th verse. This gives us the process of getting detached. How it happens and how it will happen. So, Prabhupada gives, Sukadeva Goswami gives, 3:7-12. So, this is the best verse I remember.
3:7.
3rd canto, 7th chapter, 12th verse.
Just one moment, I just.
I think I discussed before also. Can you put that verse? So this tells, this is the process of getting detached.
I will share screen.
Beautiful verse. And it is coming from, this detachment also is a mercy from Krishna. This is the best verse.
Yeah, 3:7-12. It's
Not coming?
just shared, I think. Can you see my screen?
No, we cannot see. It says started screen sharing, but it is not showing.
Okay. Maybe some bandwidth issue or something.
I will, it is coming now. It is coming. Savai nimirti dharmena vasudevana kampaya bhavad bhakti yogena tireto shanairiha. So can you go to the translation, Prabhu? It's very important. So was savai nimirti dharmena. So by detached engagement, dharmena means engagement. Vasudevana kampaya. By the misconception of self-identity can be diminished gradually by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of God. Through the process of devotion serving to the Lord, mode of detachment. We execute bhakti, the mode of detachment, and gradually it is diminished. Gradually the detachment will come. It is not immediate, it's a gradual, shanai. So shanai here means gradually. When we execute the work in the detached mode of detachment, it happens gradually. Long run. Thank you very much, Rajat Prabhu. Thank you very much, Pant Prabhu and Pant Prabhu. And then I want to thank Shamchandra Prabhu from Sharjah. I want to thank Anup Prabhu. He's given me all these opportunities to remember Bhagavatam and read Bhagavatam, and also purify my association with all of you, purify my consciousness by associating with you. And thank you for Prabhuji's and Mataji's. If I have spoken something wrong and if you have offended you, please forgive me because I'm still struggling to do bhakti. So So I'm also in the modes of material nature. I'm being harassed by the modes of material nature. So I'm just succumbing to it. Therefore, it is possible that I have not still developed the detachment. So attachment is there. So it is a process. And we will be able to stop one day. I want you, all of you, to pray that I should get real bhakti and I should practice what I am preaching. I'm just preaching now, but I'm not practicing. That is a fact. Okay? So I have to tell this fact. I'm telling from my heart. So I'm still yet to practice this 100%. This is what my Guru Maharaj told me, and he lived that. He lived these verses. My Guru Maharaj lived on the Bhagavatam verses, and he has given me nice way. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, so we will offer the Vaishnava Pranam and end the class. Vancha kalpataruvascha kripa sindhuve evacha
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo. Ananta Kodi Vaishnav Vranda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai.
की जय जय सज्जन प्रिय प्रभु जी की जय
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Glories to all the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.